Live. Hello, everyone, and welcome, welcome. It's great to see you joining us. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Jane, Australia, New Zealand, Johnny on the spot. Or should I say Jane and Jennifer on the spot? It's lovely to see you. Hello. Whoa, it's all flying through. As always,
Okay,
it's a
there we go.
delight to see you all joining us for
It's
Project. Hello. It's all flying through. I don't think we have an echo of sound. There we go. Thank you. It's delightful to see you all joining us here on our little weekly Substack Live. Oh, hello, Linda. And all the way, Anne Larkham joining us from Scotland. So we now have taken our big stretch across the planet. Do y'all appreciate what that means? And by the way, Kyla, I'm saying that for you. Kyla joining us from near Houston, Texas, and joining us from Scotland. And I'm just picking through here, of course, Jane in New Zealand and Jennifer in Victoria, about 200 miles north of
Paula from Florida?
Melbourne, I believe, Florida. Anyway, it's always a delight to see you, delight to welcome you all to Projectkin's Substack Live. We do this live session each week because there's always something new coming down, and it's a simple way to just check in, update, and I'm always delighted to bring my special guest for the week. And this week, it's none other than Kathy Stone, whom many of you will recognize for her long-time association with Projectkin and even Ponga before that, where this Kathy's Corner program actually began. So Kathy's joining me today from Calgary, Canada, along with, I noticed, Linda Tether also joining from Calgary. And we thought we'd follow up on a conversation you and I had last week, talking a little bit about a new approach. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Kathy?
Yeah, sure. And I'm glad you mentioned that the start of Kathy's Corner being connected with Ponga and that we've been doing this for a long time, because I went back to think about that. And we talked about at the beginning when we started off about I was the professional photo manager, now working on my own photos, and here to guide you through the Sherpa over Mount Inertia of trying to help you get through your photos. And I think that I went back to that and I thought, you know what, that's maybe a good thing to do for July and August because one, I think I need to update everyone on my progress. And as I was thinking about doing that, I went, I learn from experience, which sometimes not the best. It's my way of learning, sometimes not the best way to learn, but you always learn a lot from experience. And so there's a few things I'm doing right now where I've maybe skipped, and I'm not saying we're going back to the pro method totally, but where I've made a couple things and skipped a couple things. So I've now kind of made myself a little bit of a disorganized mess too. And I put out a little survey the other day, because I think we chatted a couple weeks ago about the whole notion of how many people have actually digitized photos versus how many people have done something with them once they're digitized, and how many people feel that they're organized and how many on the other side don't. And from my little brief survey, it seems like a pain point for most people is organizing after you digitize stuff. So I thought that's what we'll do in July and August. We're going to take a more active approach. And after our live is over, I'll put a note up in Kathy's Corner with a little bit, I don't want to call it homework because that means you don't want to do it and it sounds painful, but a couple ideas that you might want to do to prepare for Kathy's Corner on Thursday, and where we're going to look at how can I help you? How can we help each other get our motivation back and get working on that organization so it's not overwhelming, because I'm a little overwhelmed right now by the amount of stuff. I'm very, very happy I've got so much digitized, because that means that piece is done. But now I'm a little bit like, wow, I've overwhelmed myself now with the amount of digitizing that I have. And I haven't done a lot of organizing, because we know when we digitize, there's still work to be done.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk about that on Thursday, and hopefully I'm going to give you some questions to think about that might help you get ready to participate, and hoping to have a more interactive session and maybe spend some part of that hour with where you get a little bit of work done too.
So this isn't exactly a no more Mr. Nice Guy Kathy, is it?
No.
Is it like when the coach suddenly says no, let's put an extra 20 pounds on? Not like that, right?
Yeah, no, no, no. Nothing extra in the backpack, no laps, no push-ups, none of that stuff.
See, it's okay, everybody. We can come. Oh, wait, wait, wait. Did you see that? Paula has just pointed out she has an inherited postcard collection.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that
exciting.
sounds like fun. Hey, Paula,
Mhm.
can you comment in there? Are these written postcards or are they just plain postcards? Because I'm just digging back here because, we keep these things handy. Here's a collection of postcards that I just discovered from my mom in stuffed into albums that are, I think in this case, these are all Holland. Well, no, they're all ports. So I think
Mm.
they are postcards she collected in her travels. She was a big one on cruise ships for a while. There's that. And then I also have a half written post about a postcard from places he went on vacation. Yeah, that's like my mom's. And only now am I wrapping my head around where those roots were. Where did she go? Because otherwise you look at the piles of photos and you're like, what the heck is this? Um, linen cards.
Linen cards. Wow. You might have to bring out those sometime, Paula, and show. We
Oh,
can't,
I hope
we can't invite you up to show us on a live, but on Kathy's Corner we could. That's
absolutely.
exciting.
Oh, antiques fairs. I love those. Yay! Oh, Kyla.
Oh, Kyla, that's
Kyla
great.
writes to say, I have a postcard collection that I mailed to myself as a preteen on vacation. We were even just talking about that and planning for a wedding and, creating a card that is handed out to guests for them to write to the newlyweds, pre-stamped cards to send wishes to the newlyweds just to make it easy. By the way, secret is also to get their address. But you know, do postcards count as photos? She said as a leading question, Kathy.
Absolutely. And they're part of, if not photos, they are photos. They may not be ones you took, but they are a photo. Definitely ephemera, without a doubt. So definitely part of the collection. And like you, Barbara, I was going through making that one last pass through a couple boxes to make sure I had no negatives left because I'm right now, until more negatives emerge from somewhere, hiding in the house, which is not beyond the realm of possibility. All my negatives are digitized now. So that's that's my win anyway. But postcards definitely, and I think there's a lot of stories on the postcards, even if they're not written, and it's a ton of and information from them. But also, if you've got like the ones Kyla mentioned, you triggered a memory for me there that I'll have to write a story about. I have I have a collection of postcards that a friend of I don't know where that happened, but where a friend of mine we used to send postcards back to each other when we were in our teens and our 20s. And the opening line on everyone was, "The weather is here. Wish you were beautiful." And I found all those the other day, and it was just, and then there'd be something about, "Here's what I'm doing and where I am." But that was always the opening line. And I thought, I think I might have to get those scanned.
Yeah. And we can have that whole conversation again about scanning the two different sides and
Yep.
associating the
Both
different
front and
sides.
back. Yep.
I'm reminded, Kathy, during our Ponga days, you'll remember that postcard. So Ponga was a startup, not going to go there, but in that, I was always eager to talk about photos, and I didn't really want to be talking about my own photos. So I was eager to grab photos from thrift stores. My niece found a
Hmm.
postcard in Portland, Oregon that was a photo postcard, one of these early 20th
Hmm.
century photo postcards. And on the back was written in pencil, a absolutely lovely, how are you? I am fine. But it was a heart stopper. Do you still, I then, because it had to do with, I think, Regina or somewhere near there,
Yep.
I sent it to you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, just hang on. It's over on my desk.
She turns, she stands up, she leans back because she's that good. She knows exactly where it is.
Many things are not that close to my desk, but so it is somewhere in Alberta, which is where I live. And so this is the picture on one of them, which is obviously one of these photo postcards. And then there's this one
Right.
of the house, which has nothing written on the back. And the writing is very good, but it starts off, "Dear cousin, I should have answered sooner. We live at Neapolis, Alberta, Canada." And then the weather has been cold for 2 weeks now, but it is in moderation. It was 45 below zero. And then it's sad where you got to the sad part. We lost our baby shortly after we came here. Now we've had a third little boy. He is the only one living. He is 2.5 months old. How are you? Do they call you Frankie? Because it was addressed to Mrs. Frances Mossrood. So it goes on. So what I will do before Kathy's Corner, I will scan that
Oh,
front and back and share it and
have it.
the writing as well, because it's very moving and it was so neat. And I'll find out where that place is in Alberta.
Yeah.
We'll
I
do a little
actually
one
pretty
place
sure I have a
study and figure out
scan
where
of it.
Neapolis, Alberta
Yeah,
is.
I'm pretty sure I have a scan of that. Hope I can
Yeah.
dig that up for you.
But
And Dr. Mary
so,
Marshall, yeah, Dr. Mary Marshall joined us with a collection of postcards her great grandmother and grandmother passed down. The earliest is 1905. They have wonderful messages on them. The early 20th century really was such a golden era for postcards because they created the possibility of both a family picture and a greeting card, that you could actually put
mhm.
in the mail. You couldn't quite do that with a carte de visite. And yeah, it's really interesting to see that social history of our
And Jane
photos.
mentions she's got postcards sent to her husband's grandmother from the UK during World War I that she's going to write about soon. I'm looking forward to that.
I discovered a postcard of I now realize it was my grandmother and my great aunt sitting on a camel at the I think it's 1904. I started writing and didn't finish it, but I will. 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis, which was really kind of a fair to celebrate the Louisiana Purchase
Mhm.
held in St. Louis. And there they are riding a camel. And then I got all distracted. Started looking up the map, and it's really good stuff. So it just goes to show how these photos that may not even be people in your own family crack open whole chunks of stories. Yeah, good
And often
stuff.
really neat stories written right on the postcards, like that bit that I just read. Like, that's on the back of a postcard, and I didn't even read you the whole thing. Like, there's
Yeah.
a whole lot of story there in very short paragraph terms. And I know D- Paula will probably be able to um, confirm this with me, but one of my cousins inherited a collection of postcards, and some of the artwork is absolutely beautiful on them. And they're such a glimpse into history. And some are blank, but a whole bunch of hers have stories written on them. And it was passed down through her adoptive family. So she's not really still needs the research done and needs somebody with a scanner to scan them for her. But looking through that, I had the book for quite a while because she let me borrow it. And just looking through it and reading the backs and looking at all the different types of postcards and the things on them. There were Valentine's ones from the early 1900s, with a swastika on them, because before the
Yeah.
swastika took on its now meaning, it wasn't. It had a totally different meaning. So, because when I first saw it, I sort of did the double take, like, what? And
I
then
know.
So immediately I have to figure out, okay, when was this done? Because this has a really very odd Valentine greeting. But in fact, it was long before that
Yeah.
symbol became
Yeah.
associated with what it's associated with. So, um,
Yeah.
um,
That's a great point. I actually have a book cover of that's right there that my
yeah.
grandfather has some essays in from the late 19th century. And yeah, it's a whole ridge all the way around the outside. Anyway, so it just goes to show how meanings carry forward and context is is everything. It's not everything, but it's doggone important. It's the
Yeah.
nest that the everything sits in.
And Dr. Mary Marshall made a really important comment too, that this has helped her fill in family history. And I'm finding that quite useful with some trips in figuring out where we visited to identify what might be in a photo. Because
Yeah.
there happens to be a postcard, which is generally really a much better photo and information on the back. And my mom and I and a friend of hers went to Hawaii in 1986, no, 85. And there, a lot of the places we visited, I have postcards of as well. And they're helping fill in for the not so terrific pictures that were taken and
Yeah.
with the names of places on the back because I didn't apparently write a journal of that trip. And so I look at pictures and go, yeah, that's Hawaii. I can tell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we were in Maui. We were on the big island.
Yeah.
Whereabouts would that have been? So
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually
they're great.
a great extension of the idea of context because where the postcard is stuffed can tell you a lot. If you do, as I did, and snatch the postcards out of the photo album, oh, look, there's a bunch of postcards. Walk away with the postcards. When that was, in fact, telling me what was, where I would have figured it out, but where the rest of the photos were taken. I mean, here's one. I've never been to Madeira in Portugal. But and I probably would not recognize the photos of Madeira, but we have other ways. We have other ways. So, as you know, in these weekly Substack Live programs, I also try to give a little heads up to what's coming in the week ahead. So, we've talked a little bit about you and Kathy's Corner. Did you want to give a highlight of what's coming in future weeks of Kathy's Corner? Or shall I move on to next week?
We'll move on to next week. We'll keep it a secret till Kathy's Corner time.
I'm never sure what you have ready. So next week, thank you for asking. For next week, we have on Tuesday a very special, I like to throw these in every now and then, a very special talk on memory. This time with Diane Burley, who's giving a talk titled Sundays Are Not for Sunday. You'll have to check the calendar to see what it's actually called. It's on Tuesday Pacific time, that is, and all the details are at projectkin.org events, and of course I'll include a link in the notes. But then on Sunday, Diane will be joining me here. And the funny thing about that whole conversation is it really came up in the chat, in the commentary to a post that she did. And then I referenced an outside sociologist, actually, whose article I had read in the context of family history and memory. And it just sparked this, what I like to think of as the Rashomon effect, where 5 different people remember the same event completely differently. And it's something that absolutely comes up, especially in families. And she's got some charming examples of that, along with some research from her own background as a researcher, as a journalist. So that's always a fun way to take that. And then I have something new I'm going to be talking about. You all get to hear about this first. I'm still ruminating on it a little bit, but I'm going to be posting a note soon to talk a little bit about we'll call it a new section, a new perhaps column, if you will, of the Projectkin publication. that will be all about the American Revolution, or what is it? The
Mhm.
American Revolution for Independence, as I believe the British call it. Anyway, lots of different names for it. We had to fight it here. It's a big deal. And 2026 will make it the 250th anniversary of said fight. Um, I was smitten by the Bicentennial Memory Project, I believe it's called, with Lori Olson White and Denise Allen. And I thought that was such a cool idea. I wanted to go forward to go backwards. So this will be about family memories about people who were involved in that war. And here's the secret. I don't care which side. Because I think that's going to be really interesting. And whoever it is that's giving out, we'll just do this very slowly. We'll do it monthly. One article, a post, your post with your byline in Projectkin, and then I'll invite my author to join me on Substack Live so that we can have those conversations. Because honestly, I've made it a special effort to really get to know my own ancestors, who a bunch of them on this side, one side of the family anyway, were all over the place at the time. But I'd love to hear the stories from the other side. And I think that's going to be very interesting. And of course,
Mhm.
up in Canada, you have many what we call them redcoats, but yeah, loyalists up there.
We
But
do.
and some many difficult stories, which let's be honest, they
Mhm.
aren't always pretty stories. We have some remarkable stories of what are known in the US delicately as forgotten patriots, African Americans who fought during the Revolutionary War, who have some of the most remarkable stories. The one I talk about a lot is James Armistead Lafayette, who was absolutely critical to the Continental Army's success in the battle with Cornwallis at Yorktown, and does not get covered in any in American history books for the most part, and I don't think will be anytime soon. Anyway, we're going to have a good old time talking
Mhm.
history. But I think what this organization, what this community is so good at doing is sharing stories of a period of time together and all of our different perspectives.
Mhm.
Jane Chapman, many of you have followed her series about Richard and I think Robert Lang, and a descendant, an ancestor of hers, and his role in the late 18th century, which, oh yeah, we did have kind of a battle going on at the time, up and down the Atlantic coast down into Florida. And it's a fascinating story. And these are the ones that just create these wonderful weaves of stories. Speaking of weaves, welcome, Linda. Those of you who will know what a fabric artist she is will appreciate that. See how I worked that in?
That was a good
Oh,
one.
yeah,
Good
like that one.
segue there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a tap dance. Did you have more to add about where we're going with Kathy's Corner, or
Yeah, I think
maybe eight
we're
steps and
Yeah, I think we're going to go back and which I'll talk a bit about on this coming Thursday too, is in addition to trying, I want to help you organize because I figure if I need to organize, probably I'm not the only one. And from what I understand is that's a block. Like we get all that stuff, we get our stuff in order, the physical, we get it digitized, and then it's like, okay, now I have a big digital mess I need to deal with. So
yeah,
we're going to talk about that, but we're also, I think, I want to talk a bit on Thursday too about what a project is, because I think I'm in my head, at the beginning, I started off really clear on what a project was with Projectkin. And in my own mind, I'm speaking myself personally now, not anybody else. Projects are great. But in my own mind, I confused a project with a to-do list and work to be done. And so I want to talk a bit about that on Thursday. And then going forward, I think we're going to try and focus more on what working on our projects from with using our photos and our memorabilia and organizing so that we can get a project done and linking back our project work to those 8 steps to get the photos out of the tubs and get the stories told. So I think
yeah.
that's what we're looking at for the fall, a little bit of a change up. And then then I think I won't say too much now, but as you know, I launched my Kathy's coaching, which is intended to be it's my retirement job, because who retires and doesn't have a job? Apparently no one that I know, is to do coaching now. And so if you feel the need for one-on-one coaching, I'm looking at what I can set up to kind of provide a little bit of one-on-one coaching. Some people expressed interest in it would be helpful if there were videos that they could access on demand on how to do various things in organizing. So I'm mulling over all that for coming soon, maybe not soon in the fall, but coming sometime in the fall, and of ways thinking. And if you have any ideas of what would help you get organized, what do you need? By all means, send me a message, send me a note, anything, and let me know what would be most useful so that we can get something going forward that will be helpful, because it's great that we've got that whole physical stuff. At least we've got it backed up and it's safe. That's a big deal too.
Right.
But what's the next step? And that's
Right.
what we want to focus on, I think, going forward in Kathy's Corner. So.
Right. Fantastic. I mean, I think I'll look forward to the discussion about what is a project, because I think that's super important. I mean, I chose the word project, and Anne, I saw you. Anne is the one who tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You keep talking about projects. Maybe projects should be part of the name." It's a good tip. But I think parsing that down to what exactly it means, because it is a project to go get your photos scanned. That's a project, no question about that. But when you go and publish a book, that could be a project too. Part of my argument is across the board, as you're in the business of producing new materials, new storytelling materials, think about the preservation and archiving of that as well, not to mention, of course, work in process, but certainly the archiving, the discoverability, the order and structure. You said something to me a long, long time ago that really stuck with me. And that was the idea of, you may have inherited buckets full of stuff. What's in that stuff? Do you want to just pass on more buckets full of stuff? Chances are they're going to be like that precious postcard from Neapolis, Alberta, Canada, and it's found in a thrift store. I mean, that woman's baby is somebody's grandparent, and it breaks my heart to have that be separated. And those are the kinds of things that belong in a family, to have them understand that recollection, understand who they are, where they came from. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what brings us all together. So thank you all for joining us today. It's thrilled to see so many of you here. And follow up, as you know, I do my darndest to get this recording out just as quickly as I can. You all probably know this, but I'm going to mention it again. At the end of a live session, you have a choice of whether to send it out right away or send it out later. I actually do send it out right away, because if somebody just got the email with the link, they just joined, now they can see the recording. But I also follow up and update that just as quick as I can with as many notes and so on. And I hope useful references as possible. If ever you see one of these posts with nothing on it, do a refresh, because I'm updating it. Second is that if I've missed you, or I've missed something, or you think there's some important story that's relevant, chime in on the comments. That's how these things happen. It's good stuff. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a delight to see all of you. As always, same bat time, same bat channel. Next week and every week on Sunday, if I can possibly help it. And we'll see you on Thursday for Kathy's Corner.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye, everyone. See, you're on my computer down here. That's why I keep looking over there. Someday I'll do a little best practices I've learned from doing these. But anybody who is nervous about doing their first Substack Live, give me a ring. I'll tell you what I know.
Just go for it.
Just go for it. That's right. That's the secret. Hey, Bill. Bye. Thank you.